Deborah Ross, U.S. Congresswoman from the 2nd Congressional District of North Carolina. Welcome, Congresswoman Ross, and thank you so much for joining us. Well, it's afternoon for you, it's evening for us. Please, over to you.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation. I wish that I could be there with you in person, but as you know, Congress has been in session this week, and I'm very heartened to hear some of the observations and conclusions from the participants. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you today. And I'm honored to join you virtually from the United States for the conclusion of your 17th annual Security Forum. For the last 3 years, and of course throughout history, the Ukrainian people have courageously fought for their freedom against a brutal authoritarian regime. On Putin's orders, as we all know, Russia continues to be engaged in the same kind of unprovoked aggression that has plunged the world into cataclysmic violence in the past. And we must heed the lessons of history. Appeasing dictators does not work. It enables them, it emboldens them, and it compromises the world's security. And of course, as we've seen in this war, it costs countless lives. I'm the co-chair of the Moldova caucus. I believe that you heard from my co-chair, Representative Lawler, earlier in this conference. Like Representative Lawler, I am deeply committed to fostering the democratic aspirations of Russia's neighbors. And I'm joining you today to share a very simple message. Despite what you might read in the news, contrary to what you might hear from our president, a clear, decisive majority in Congress believes in your fight. We will be with you from now until the day that Ukraine ultimately claims victory and achieves peace and security. Our friendship with Ukraine has been built over decades and, of course, through your incredible diaspora in the United States. It's forged on a foundation of common strategic interests and shared security priorities. But on a more basic level, the relationship is grounded in mutual values, an unshakable belief in opportunity, democracy, and freedom. The United States has stood on the side of people who, in the words engraved on our Statue of Liberty, are yearning to breathe free. We cannot retreat from that commitment now. And left unchecked, as we all know, Putin's ambitions will not stop with Ukraine. His aim is nothing less than restoration of the Soviet Union's old hegemony, a new empire built on oppression and autocracy. Beyond Ukraine, we've seen attempts by Russia to seize territory, overturn popular will, and install pro-Russian rulers in Moldova, Romania, and Georgia. And of course, Russia's disinformation campaigns in the West that were alluded to earlier. We've witnessed democratic backsliding, and we all have watched as Romania was forced to nullify its first round of elections due to massive Russian interference. I have been in regular contact with leaders in Moldova who are extremely anxious about their own country's future as Russian meddling in Moldova and its society intensifies. But they have stood strong because we have stood with them, including our European allies. Now, all of these events, as you all know, are consistent with a broader pattern. Russia seeks to undermine democracy with stolen ballots before it even tries to eliminate democracy once and for all with bullets, bombs, and tanks. That's why the United States and our NATO allies have supported Ukraine from the beginning. And I am so proud and heartened about our NATO allies stepping up to continually support Ukraine. The stakes could not be higher. The consequences of failure could not be more dire. It is no exaggeration to say that Europe's future hangs in the balance. The West simply cannot allow Ukraine to be carved up by Russia. And a Ukrainian victory is the best safeguard and the strongest shield for the future of its independence and the independence of Moldova, Romania, Poland, and the Baltic states. Indeed, when Ukraine ultimately prevails, it will offer comfort and reassurance to democracies as close as your western border and as far away as Taiwan. Again, despite what you might hear from our president, please know that by a wide margin, the majority of Congress and the American people stand with Ukraine. Last year, under the leadership of President Biden, Congress finally passed a historic $61 billion aid package for Ukraine. I am committed to doing all I can to ensure that the pipeline of arms and assistance continues to flow from our shores to the soldiers on the front line. This is a potentially seismic moment, a chance to prove decisively to dictators and wannabe autocrats alike that the democratic peoples of the world will not relent when the fight for freedom gets tough. When innocent people are brutally attacked and sovereign democratic nations are under threat, Congress must heed the call. To do otherwise would not just be at odds with our interests, but it's contrary to the character of our nation. We don't give up on our friends. We don't back down from a fight. We don't betray our allies and our values, and we will not rest until democracy prevails. Now, despite the overwhelming odds, as we all know, the Ukrainian people have stood up to Putin, a vicious dictator. Now, the American people must reassert our support for Ukraine and our European allies until Putin is pushed back. And when this war is over, and I'm sure you discussed this, we all must be part of Ukraine's renaissance. Once again, thank you so much for the chance to be with you virtually. Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава. Thank you so much, Congresswoman Ross. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone gathered here in expressing my gratitude to you and to like-minded colleagues of yours in U.S. Congress and elsewhere for your staunch and steadfast support of Ukraine. Thank you so much.